will start off with Dr. Bianka. Each of our speakers will have 15 minutes to present their research, and then we will have questions afterward. Bianka is, she works at the Migration Research Institute in Budapest. She's also a member of the research group on religious cultures funded by the University of Szeged and the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Her research is titled The Sunni-Shiite Divide in Europe, Rationale and Reactions.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and I would like to talk about how sectarianism and tensions in the Middle East are imported or manifested in the European scene. The paper was a collaboration with a friend of mine who is. His name is Abdesamad Belhaj, and he's a researcher and lecturer in the Catholic University of Leuven. He's of Moroccan origin, but he's married to a Hungarian lady, and he spends half of his life in Hungary. So this is where from where we have this professional contact, and we collaborated on this issue together. So my perspective is quite, I would call it Europe-centric. And that's why, before all, I would like to clarify that sectarianism is not confined to the Middle East and Muslim or Arab or whatever cultures. It is enough to remember what happened after the collapse of the regime in Yugoslavia. And to my great surprise, or maybe it was not such a big surprise, but it was still somehow astonishing to hear from Croatian and Serbian immigrant teenagers who are living in Vienna, and I had interviewed them. The fact that what kind of instructions they get from their parents telling them that intermarriage is avoided. So this is something that is prevalent in every culture and every, I would say, religion or every part of the world. And up till now, what we see in Europe is I would call like low intensity conflicts. Still, what is really worrying is the deterioration of the political situation in the Middle East. What triggers and actually imports makes these conflicts and tensions imported to Europe. Maybe I will open my So just a minute. Yeah. Okay. Our aim was to identify the clashes, the actual incidents, to try to find out the motivations behind the clashes, and we focused on the major venues of instrumentalizing Shia identity by Iran. It's not because it is only Iran who is doing this in Europe or in the world, so to say, but also because we can hear less about Iran in this issue and less about the Shia than about the Sunni radicals and about ISIS, let's say, or about Saudi Arabia. So we all have more idea about what or the European audience in general have more idea about what's going on than in the Sunni circles than in the Shia. So about sectarianism, I think there is no need to define what is sectarianism. I would point to three features. One of them is the transnational character, which means that that people living as immigrants in the West are so deeply linked to their homelands, that they are living in kind of parallel realities. And through media, internet, and smartphones, they are continually in touch with the reality back home. So there is no detachment, no way to be objective or a little bit keep distance from what's going on back home, because it's as if it was happening to them, even if there is a huge distance. The other feature is that in my estimation, the features of sectarianism that are taking place also in Europe bear all the characteristics to call them fitna. And the third thing I want to mention beforehand is that I will read some quotes, and in the quotes you will find nothing new. It is a very well-known and familiar rhetoric to your ears, but what I think is really striking is that this kind of rhetoric is heard in Europe, in the West. It is imported. So the major types of the conflicts are the demonstrations where we can listen to religious political discourse, express loyalties to well-known sectarian leaders, dawah in a sense that there is kind of race about who can spread Islam in some Western countries, which is the true Islam, Shia or the Sunni, and this is very. This can cause very harsh tensions between the two denominations, and also there is in some countries, especially in Belgium, for example, there is a very strong Shiite dawah addressing Sunni people living in Sunni immigrants living there. And I call, well, there is this idea to call those people who are organizing terror attacks and jihadi activities in the West, jihadi entrepreneurs, after Peter Nesser, a Norwegian analyst. I decided to call some people who are involved in especially sectarian tensions, to call them sectarian entrepreneurs, and I will give a few examples. And these incidents are there are some incidents typical to the European context, and I hope I will have time to mention them. We can when we listen to discourses and demonstrations, what we can find is Shia people demonstrating or against terror attacks, for example, in Iraq. They never miss the opportunity to equal Shiism with everything what is good in Islam, the true Islam, all the good values, the tolerance, patience. So what is good to the Western ears, they try to represent that kind of Islam, and they try to identify Shiism with that kind of Islam. There is a quote here I would like to read. It was in The Hague. There was a demonstration, a Shia demonstration, and they read the following text: "We announce from here our support for the blessed guidance in Najaf, led by the cleric Said Ali al-Sistani. May he long live, and we call on our people and our brothers in Iraq to abide by the guidance instructions and to pay obedience and respect to him." And in another demonstration in Rotterdam, the name Ali al-Sistani was exchanged for Imam Hussein. So what we see in this rhetoric is there is this binary oppositions between us and them. We the good, the Shia, and we who are not the terrorists, but the peaceful, accommodating people, and on the other side, the non-Shia, whomever that have a tendency towards terrorism or are terrorists. There is a strong merge of past and present, which is quite characteristic of the Shia rhetoric, that all the problems of what happens today as like challenges or difficulties are a kind of Karbala, and the Karbala of today, and it is linked to the Karbala of yesterday, which is historical, to put everything in a historical perspective. And also there is this, I would call mythical selectiveness, which means that let's forget about what Hezbollah and Khomeini did. They were not terrorists. It is always the other side which commits terrorism. So there are cases of proselytizing and addressing with dawah Sunnis in Belgium, for example, or in various Western countries. The centers where this happens are always linked to have some political agenda. And there was an incident in Belgium, in Anderlecht, where Sunni Moroccan guy killed the imam of a Shia mosque, and the imam of the Shia mosque was a convert from Sunnism to Shiism, and he said that he wanted to do something to scare the members of the Shia community, which he considers responsible for the violence against Sunnis in Syria. And the jury that studied the case concluded that he was inspired only by massacres in Homs, Syria. He saw on Al Jazeera and other television channels. So we can see from this incident the fragility between the borders between the Middle East and Europe. And then I already mentioned the loyalty to sectarian leaders. I mentioned here the case of Germany, where the Shia Federation in Germany is openly expressing loyalty to Imam Khamenei and Ayatollah Khamenei, and they make it very overt, and it is very tangible for everyone that their primary loyalty is not towards Islam or not towards Germany, but to Khamenei and what the Iranian leadership stands for. Yeah, I mean, I can. There are here I will talk about more about these sectarian entrepreneurs. So they can launch websites, they can incite clashes, they can make statements that are very harmful and ignite harsh reactions. In the UK, the most well-known names are Said Ammar Nakhshavani. I will read a quote from him. Most Sunnis are disgusted by ISIS and their actions, but we have to ask serious questions of where this group has come from and which ideas have fed them. So what we see here, it's a short. Actually, it is the end of a longer discourse, but it makes very emphatic that kind of accusation that implicitly Sunnism feds only Sunnism feds terrorism and it equals somehow the Sunni ideas with radicalism and terrorism. And the other person is Yasir al-Habib, and he made this statement that Prophet Muhammad was assassinated by his wives Aisha and Hafsa and the companions Abu Bakr and Umar, and he called to celebrate the death of Aisha. So, and these people are living in Europe, and they are importing these kind of ideas and trying to polarize the Muslim community. Um, and about Iran, we know that I already mentioned the dawah in proselytizing in Sunni mosques in this sense. But it's not only that a change of rite, like someone is converting from Catholicism to Protestantism. It is also a change in political allegiance. Then there were different phases in the Irani propaganda in the West. After 2003, it became very overt and very aggressive. Also we can see recruitment. We have evidence about recruitment among European Shia to send them to the battlefields of in the Middle East. So what is particularly I think I was personally very astonished by what the Ahlul Bayt did actually in 2014. He not only the website not only took a discourse by Al-Sistani after the fall of Samarra, but they distorted this discourse, and I will read only that part which was the most striking for me, and which later I think, if I know well, Al-Sistani also expressed that he was referring only to the Iraqi Shia, not elsewhere in the world. But the website distorted this, and it reads: "We must brace ourselves in preparation to sprint for action and prepare ourselves mentally and practically to act if this declaration converts to wajib aini," because before they referred that it is wajib kifai. So and it was never heard. It was never pronounced by Al-Sistani. However, they try to ignite the sentiments in Europe. Then there is Al-Shirazi, who is saying that even Europe must be given red lines and lessons, what is possible, what is accepted in Syria and what is not. So and here the very interesting point is how it is rearticulated, this whole issue in the European context. And why it is very worrying with this huge wave of immigrants, the intensification of this kind of fragmentation is very likely to happen. There is another thing that I would call kind of homegrown sectarianism. It happened in Norway, where against Islamophobia they tried to reassert and redefine what is Islam, and both the Shia and the Sunni young people somehow became more and more essentialist and radical in defining what Islam is. So instead of coming to a common platform and representing moderate Islam to the host society, they turned against each other, and we can see recycling of Islamophobic statements against. I took the example from the Shia. All Muslim terrorists are Sunnis. So there are the same logic starts to work in these tensions then between the Islamophobe and Muslim populations. And it is also in Norway where there is a huge tension about the street dawah, who represents the true Islam, and so on. And there was an ecumenical march against ISIS, and it was it was quite successful. Still, some parts of the two groups, youth organizations, started to attack each other, and they went even as far as saying that it was only a Sunni plot, and it was kind of hiding their true agenda to participate, or to send some people participating in such event. So what we see is like, and what we all know, that sectarianism is inherently violent. If we think of Salafism and Shia revivalism, we can see that these are two radical transnational and apocalyptic ideologies, and this kind of inherent violence can spark whenever it has place and time to do it. So sorry for, maybe I think I have to close. I think, yeah, I think I